All right, so the next one is the Model 260, which you are familiar with. We are going to be eliminating all the existing 260s and replacing it with this new line. So the big thing we changed with the 260 is the mounting. So the old one had just a simple housing. The new ones have two versions. One with studs that you can put into a panel or recessed panel and use these self-tapping nuts to thread onto these bosses.
So 3 simple holes, 1 for the harness, 2 for the bosses, onto a surface or into a pocket and zip it down. All versions come with the bosses.
Yep, so the next version is flanges. So as Gary said, this still does have the bosses on it, but you have these flanges. So if you want to mount on a panel with flanges, this is another option. The reason we left these on is essentially in order to get this mounted, you would have to drill a hole out for this anyways and just reduced tooling costs.
So surface mount, you're cutting a hole for the lamp and you can just attach with either through holes or self-tapping into whatever material you're attaching to.
All right, so now I'll go through the different versions and their functionality.
And common, all the versions are all 1224?
All 1224.
And then sealing for, regardless of which Deutsch connector?
They are all IP67 and IP69K, all 1224, and all of them can be mounted 360 degrees. So what I mean by that is you can mount it like this, mount it like this, mount it like this, or like this. It'll meet the photometric requirements any which way you mount it because of the optical system. And yeah, so we'll go through the different functions. So the first one is our RCL, which is rear combination lamp. This one is ECE only, and it has 5 functions: stop, tail, turn, reverse, and rear fog.
And only ECE because for US it will not meet the surface area requirements, which we'll cover in some of the other lamps. That's the big difference between North America and Europe, is here we have the projected light patterns and illuminated surface area requirement, which has been a challenge on some of our smaller lamps. Finally, this lamp is a little bigger, which will get us into some of the other markets with the North American lamps. So this one, again, like Greg said, 5-function ECE only, can be mounted in any orientation.
Yep, and it comes in both the flange and post-mount versions. The next one I'm going to show you is the direction indicator only. So this lamp is dual homologated, ECE and North America DOT. This lamp has enough surface area for North America for vehicles wider than 2,032 millimeters. So anything wider than like a Ford Raptor.
Yep. Bus, tram, trolleys, the bigger vehicles. We've typically had trouble with those on our 234s, if you're familiar with the round stop-tail turns, the heated, non-heated, and the 274, the oblongs. Those do not have enough surface area to meet that requirement for vehicles larger than 2032. This one finally does, not only for the DI, but for some of the other stuff that Greg's going to go over. But this one being DI only, single function.
This is DI only. And for European markets, for ECE, this also does have in the circuit ISO pulse. So what that is ISO pulse 13207. It's an outage detection used in Europe. We did testing internally. It should be compatible with any ISO pulse system. This is used on truck and trailer and agricultural
And the
markets.
ISO 13207 is for, originally was written for 24 volt only, but we did do both 12 and 24.
Yep, so it covers 12 and 24 volt ISO pulse systems. Also keep in mind, RCL DI also has that. So both have ISO pulse.
If the vehicle doesn't have the ISO pulse detection system, it won't matter. It's just kind of like our old anti-flicker harness on the Jeep lights. If you put it on a vehicle that doesn't need it, it's just there. It won't affect anything. Everything else will work just fine.
So your DI only. Next one is dual homologated ECE, North America DOT, reversing lamp. Single function, pretty straightforward, just a reversing lamp.
And the 2 single function lamps are using the 3-pin Deutsch. So the back side of the housing is inserted in the tool for either a 3-pin Deutsch or a 6-pin on the 5 functions. On the 6 pins for the single packs, we're going to include the connector kit, so loose terminals that can be crimped on the wires, as well as the parts needed to make the rest of the Deutsch connector, rather than the pigtail and harness on those single packs. What Greg and I found is you go into a shop and the guys are installing a couple of these and you're standing on a pile of wires because they don't want to splice in another connection and have another failure point. So all of our 6 pins will come with the loose terminals, Deutsch terminals to be crimped on the wires, as well as the connector bodies. Bulk pack for OEMs, things like that, they're going to run their own harness right up to the lamps, so you won't need the harnesses included.
And also in bulk pack, it's
Or
not
single.
going to include...
Yeah, single pack will have the...
Single pack will have the speed nuts and termination kit. Bulk packs won't have either. It's kind of up to the OEM or the person purchasing if they want to purchase those.
Yeah, and we
from
can
us.
always supply the information for the suppliers of the stamped nuts, both in North America and in Europe. Pretty readily available Tinnerman type fastener that the OEs, like for Polaris, for example, has been buying for years.
All right. Next one is a stop tail turn. It is stop tail for ECE and stop tail turn for North America SAE. The reason it is a stop tail turn is because in North America you can flash red on the rear of the vehicle, and in Europe and ECE it has to be amber.
For DI,
For DI,
turn.
for direction indicator. So this is another one, same specifications as the others. All right, the last one I'm going to show you is North America DOT only. So this one is a front position DI. The reason it is North America only is because it is amber front position, and in Europe or ECE, you require a white front position. So North America only. The solution that this lamp provides for a lot of our customers is, say they purchase a 7-inch round, a 5x7, any of one of our forward lights, and they need a direction indicator for the front, and their vehicle's wider than 2032, you can put this on the front and pair it with that lamp. And this could be mounted 360, all the other things 1224, but it gives you 2 functions.
One of the key things with all of the lamps, as customers are mounting them, is as they put it into, if they're using the flange mount and they're mounting to a flat surface, so it's basically a plate mount or flush mount, if you will. In that case, it's not so much an issue depending on the body geometry, but something to be aware of is that if they do put it on a thermal form or a vacuum form and it is in a recessed pocket to help style it in, they don't set it back too far, because if it's in too far, you won't meet the angle visibility requirements for front or rear in some cases, depending on how they've got it set in. That's something we can always help with, but it helps if you tell them up front, styling always wants to make it disappear in a deep pocket. If it's too deep, you won't meet the angle requirements. We can always assist with that, but something just to be aware of on especially the signal lamps, not so much on the work lamps unless you'd encroach on the pattern based on the depth.
Yeah, and that's all the 260s.